probably no one has tuned in yet because that's the nature of live streaming, but this is a test, a little experiment, and possibly a test of what's to come. So, HBO, excuse me, I'm gonna see if this seems to be working, and if it's going out live on Facebook and YouTube. And there it is, even on Twitter. So this will be much more fun if I can interact with you instead of just talking. And that's not going to be easy, but let's see. There you go. So there it is. I can pull it up on here and I can at least see comments on Facebook if you're out there. So this is a test of some technology I have at home. And check, Denise is there on Facebook. I should also be on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to check that right now, which is also at Science Comedian, and also on Twitter /Periscope. But I've already been interacting with a bunch of you tonight on Facebook because tomorrow morning I was supposed to fly to California for a gig, and at the last minute it got canceled. You know, it's obviously not surprising. You've been hearing about cancellations. The biggest physics meeting of the year is the American Physical Society, I believe. Is that right? Physics Society. They just canceled the largest physics meeting of the year, which involved about 10,000 attendees in Colorado, I believe. And they also canceled at the very last minute. Some people had already flown into town. And I was optimistic that we weren't going to cancel because it's not a big conference. It's not a big meeting that has to be canceled. I was going to speak somewhere, but I'm the only one who was flying in. So I thought it was going to happen. But in the end, they had to err on the side of caution. And we're not going to have groups of people gather. I was supposed to do a comedy show and a seminar, a science communication talk. And, hello, Jack. Hey, Elena. So they forced my hand. If this is the way it's going to be, are the days of live comedy and live science communication talks over? Is that it? Did you enjoy it? It was fun while it lasted. So what's the replacement? In this case, I was going to both perform and give a talk. The performance is just going to be canceled, but on Thursday when I was supposed to do the live event, we're going to do a webinar instead. So I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know if it'll actually be video like this or just my voice and a screen. I wasn't planning to use a lot of PowerPoint. In fact, in my science communication talks, that's one of the points I like to make. I like to tell scientists and other speakers that you should be able to give your talk without slides. Not that you shouldn't use slides, especially if they're visual and they complement your talk. But you should be able to give your talk without the slides because they should just be supporting you anyway. They shouldn't be the main thing. They should be like the special effects in science fiction films, which obviously that math is often off. All the money and attention is put into the effects and there's a terrible script, but you don't want that to be the case. And anyway, if you give talks, inevitably one day the tech is gonna be down and you're gonna have to give the talk without it anyway. And instead of getting flustered years from now in that hypothetical situation, I'm telling you right now, that day is coming. So, no, Denise, the Colorado meeting I referenced was a recent canceled meeting that I wasn't attending, but it's the biggest physics meeting of the year. I'd love to come to Colorado if we could figure out someone to bring me there and not just to do a webinar. So anyway, I mean, hey, Christopher Height, if you're out there. Is this what it's going to be from now on? Live comedy means tuning in to a virtual stream, a virtual experience by yourself. Everyone in their own little cubicles. Even in houses, everyone in their own room, on their own device. Billy on his laptop and Sarah on her iPhone. It's not the same experience, not for a comedy show or not for any kind of talk that really for one thing, I could never deliver quite as good a talk this way because I thrive on that interaction. I mean, maybe it's my years as a comedian, but I love the live situation. I don't like to be terribly scripted. I like to look out and see faces and interact with them. So yeah. And Elena, you on your AOL account. Does AOL still exist? Jack says it saves on airfare. It does save on airfare. Although canceling at the last minute doesn't. Although, United Airlines and maybe another airline sent out emails recently that they will not charge for canceling a flight. Kind of funny, the United Airlines one said, it just came out a few days ago, and it said any flight purchased from now forward, if you have to cancel, there won't be a fee. But what about someone that booked 2 weeks ago and now has to cancel? They don't address that. Maybe they would let you off the hook. But it just turns out that I was going to California and Southwest Airlines worked really well for me. And even before the virus, Southwest was the one airline that if you canceled a flight, there was no penalty. You don't get your cash back. But it's there as credit, and there's no penalty. So it's there, and so I just had to cancel a flight, and it's there for a year. So hopefully in the next year, life will resume, and I could fly and access that money again. But in my case, it worked out really nicely that we're going to replace my live show with a webinar, and hopefully in the near future we'll get to rebook this because we both want to. I was gonna be in the Berkeley area. I was gonna see a lot of old friends because I used to live in San Francisco for quite a long time, and I was gonna do a lot of live interviews. So I was planning to do this experiment all this next week from the Bay Area. Interviewing scientists and friends of mine, and I don't know if you're out there, Celeste, but I have a virtual friend that I've never met, and Celeste Flores, and she's a blacksmith, and I was gonna visit her, I don't know what she calls it, her lab, her warehouse, I don't know what it is exactly, where I know that she just got a new anvil. And she's a blacksmith, and she makes really cool stuff, metalworks. And so I thought it would be super cool and visual to visit her. So that's going to happen one day when I return. Yeah, Christopher said he did this with United, but they kept $200. If I was really pissed once because I booked, it was one purchase of 2 tickets, and they hit a $200 fee for each ticket. Even though it was one purchase, they took almost all of both tickets, and they leave you with, it's not a fair deal. Not at all. So, let me take a quick check over here, just to see, there it is, no comments there, and on YouTube. So this is really just a test, and my throat's a little sore anyway, and I hadn't even gone to the gig yet. Let's see what happens. Can I get to my channel? And is there something there? Sure enough. It doesn't seem to be moving right now, but there it is. if you care. Oh, maybe I have to click it. Exactly. There's room for a live chat, but no one's there. So interesting. Yeah, Mark Kaplan, Smithery. Elena, you need new. Did I miss something? You need new candlesticks? I think I missed the setup to that punchline. Yeah, don't panic. Okay, John. Don't panic. You make your living primarily by appearing in front of groups of people. And now that is outlawed. Not outlawed, but it's impacted. And I haven't been panicking. You know, I only have a couple years worth of food and toilet paper. It is odd that this run, so to speak, on toilet paper has happened this time. It'll be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. And obviously, we don't want any kind of worst case scenario. I wonder if, what's the time frame? It's all very suspenseful. When are we gonna resume doing normal things, just washing our hands a lot more and watching stock prices rise on companies like Purell or whoever makes that, hand sanitizers. So, Christopher says he feels very privileged being in this audience. Do you? Yeah. Let's see how you feel an hour from now after being subjected to this. I didn't prepare anything. I just decided that it was time to do this experiment, and even though I had nothing prepared. So I don't know how privileged. Can I watch you wash your hands? Doves make good eating. Mark, you lay off my doves. My doves have not come back. Elena, I don't have a sink in here, and I have no any kind of other gels or anything, but basically I would rub my hands together, and I guess we got to get in between those fingers, and I've always been pretty conscious of underneath the fingernails. Seems like that would be a good place for some virus particles to hide. In the future when I do this, I'll prepare some material and maybe it'll be entertaining. I have some surprises. I have a few things up my sleeve. You can't see my sleeve very well because it's black and the background's black. But, Purell as fuck. OCD, anyone? Antibacterial schmutz. Yeah, so very interesting. This is the first gig I've had cancel. And I'm a little concerned I have another one. So I thought it was gonna happen because I'm the only person flying into town, but it's on campus and they just don't want to assemble groups of people right now. It's bad timing. Oh, you know what's the killer, Elena? This gig was actually scheduled a few weeks ago originally, but the person I was working with got called for jury duty, and she didn't want to miss the event that she was organizing, and it worked for both of us to push it back. But if it had happened a few weeks ago, it would have happened. And it just turned out that we chose this date and bad timing. But I am concerned because my very next gig I was gonna spend a week in the Bay Area, and then the following week, at the end of this month, I have another event, and it's a big public event. It's at a university in Iowa, and it's called Research Day. And it's a big celebration, and I think it's public facing. So that one, I wouldn't be surprised, except that has there been a case in Iowa? Maybe there hasn't even been a case in Iowa yet, and they won't cancel. I'd be the only one flying in, but it is a public event, so we'll see. But this will be challenging. Some of my friends that do some public appearances are also, like you, Elena Levine, author of Networking for Nerds and a prolific freelance physics writer, can ramp up her physics, her writing to make up for lost personal appearances. And I've done some writing and video producing, but right now that is not a significant portion of my income. But my income has almost been exclusively live appearances in front of groups of humans. Jody Liss is watching. Hello, Jody Liss. ASBMB canceled a massive San Diego meeting in the beginning of April. John, you got some comic relief for me? Denise was supposed to meet Kiss tonight in El Paso. They canceled the meet and greet. They did the show. I know, I heard it was because Gene Simmons was spitting up blood and burping out fire. Yeah, so you probably wouldn't want to meet him in person under those circumstances. Groups of humans. Groups of humans are trouble, but they're also how I've made a living for the past couple decades. Entertaining groups of humans, and now sometimes giving science communication talks to groups of science humans. God. DNA, I was supposed to be in the Bay Area this week, starting tomorrow. We had a big weekend at DNA's Comedy Lab, but things are spiraling here in Santa Cruz. Larry Lesser always doesn't disappoint with the puns, could be the kiss of death. Neanderthals, I'll entertain Neanderthals. I'm immediately going to jokes about interspecies breeding. It took me no time at all to go directly to that subject. A human on stage. You ever meet a girl? DNA plus Kiss equals Gene Simmons. And plants. Yeah, I think it's okay to talk to plants. I don't think you should ask them a lot of questions, but talk to your plants. Do not breed with a cactus, just saying. Yeah, so see, I don't even need, maybe this would be a completely different kind of comedy experience because now you're all telling the jokes. At a certain point, I can probably just shut up and there in the comments, the comedy can continue without me. And I'll just cash the check. There's gonna be a check, right? Yeah, so this isn't like, what are you gonna beam comedy directly into people's living rooms and bedrooms and mobile devices? What was he doing there? What the hell was that? Comedy for Republicans. Do they count as humans? It's a good question. They're introverts. Wow, you think these are jokes? Yeah, what you're doing, not what I'm doing. What I'm doing, this is definitely not jokes. The comedy replicates like a virus. See what I'm saying? Droplets. There's me holding up the phone, on the phone, and then he put it back down, that guy. You want to check too. Okay, there's not going to be enough to go around for all of us. Check is in the mail and other such nonsense. Oh my God, how can you be in your phone and my phone at the same time? I'm spreading myself thin, Elena. That's what's going on here. Yeah, there. Oh, he had it up again. If I hold it up long enough, he'll come around. Don't touch your face. Not even virtually. Well, that's one advantage, you know, I can cough and touch my face here. That's the universe map. There we go. How many of me are there? So, is this the future of live entertainment? I mean, it is live. We might have a slight delay here, but it is live. I guess on some platforms, you can bring somebody else in. Ultimately, I might be able to do that. Bring in a guest over here, next to me. But it goes on for infinity. It's Facebook after all, yeah. Sometimes I don't understand. If you just say, ooh, ew, infinite checks for, hey, Jamie Vernon. So, Jamie, I don't know if you just saw my post, but I was supposed to fly to California tomorrow morning, and my gig just canceled. And it wasn't a big meeting. It was just me coming in, but there was going to be a group of humanoids. And I was going to give a SciComm talk, and I was going to give a performance. But we did negotiate a substitute deal, and on Thursday I am going to give a webinar. So something is going to happen, but it's going to be virtual, and I'm going to be doing it from here in Raleigh. But I'm going to do a little webinar, and hopefully this situation doesn't continue for terribly long, and we will rebook it, because we would rather have done it in person. And while I was there, I was going to interview a bunch of scientists. It was going to be so much fun. I was going to go meet this blacksmith that I know on Facebook, here on Facebook. And so I had a lot of live streaming planned. And by the way, this is really my first test of this new technology. I'm currently live on both my Facebook pages and on my YouTube channel and on Twitter. I could add some other platforms, but frankly, I don't use any other platforms. You can't go directly to Instagram this way, unfortunately, because that's the other platform that I use a lot. The only way I could do it is if I separately used my phone and went to, I mean, I guess I could do that now, but I'm actually using my phone so that I can see you say, bummer, and can't risk the zombie apocalypse. You can bring a guest on live Facebook if you're both on a smartphone. So yeah, I'm not doing it from my smartphone right now, but I will do some from the smartphone. But in this situation though, if I go directly to only Facebook, I could see the comments while I'm streaming, but the tech I'm using right now, and in order to do this multi-platform thing, I would be using I wouldn't be able to have Facebook open. I wouldn't have any of those individual platforms open, so I won't see any of the comments unless I do what I'm doing here, is carry a second device. But I only have the one device with a mobile plan. So, I might just have to do that. I might just have to get a mini tablet with a cell plan, with a cellular plan, so that I could do this So, Bill, I'm using something called Restream. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's labeled on the, I think it's branded into this, into the text description for this. But essentially what I'm using is, I'm actually using a video camera and my computer, my laptop over here, and a piece of software called OBS, which would enable me to do some, let's try something. I actually don't know if this is gonna mess up the audio, but can I see that? Oh, I can. Could you tell me, did anything else just change? When I did that, do you still hear me? Did anything change with the audio now that you can see that instead of me? So that is one way, and I couldn't see myself when I did that, but I could see your comments. But Bill, this is gonna enable me to I'll be able to do this on remotely from my phone, or what I'm doing here at home using a camcorder and my computer. But the whole point is that the stream is going to one location, and then they're sending it out to multiple locations. And so that's a service called Restream. You saw the comments, but nothing else changed? Okay. Good. Welcome, Michael Yee. So I haven't set this up yet. Well, what is this? Oh yeah, this is just that's just a fade to black. So answer me this. So the audio went away, didn't it? Did it fade? And did it fade back in, or did it end abruptly? Yeah, I'm touching my face, but I'm also not leaving the house. I think you're allowed to touch your face as long as you aren't around other humans. The audio faded. Nice. Hey, Albert. Albert, if you just always use the tech to kind of mess with the audience. It faded. That's great to know. I can always check this later, but I can ultimately set up a bunch of different shots. So in the same way that I can fade to this, I could pull up something where that could be my face and the comments, or it could be my face and, I could pull some other stuff up here. I just haven't set any of it up. And I'm triggering things remotely with this, but all I've set up are a couple shots. So this one takes us to the chat, and this other one brings us back, and one to start recording and stop recording and start the stream and end the stream. So that way, otherwise I'd have to go over to my laptop and do it. But this I could keep near at hand. So, thanks. I have some other backgrounds planned, but this is a first test. And if people aren't going to be bringing, so Albert, what kicked this off is, I don't know if you caught it. I had a gig cancel. I was supposed to go to the Bay Area tomorrow, very last minute. And I have my next gig coming up another week later, and I will not be surprised if that cancels. This is going to impact my income. Income is a very fancy word for saying, how am I going to pay for all this? The house I live in, etc. I don't think they'll let me postpone on my bills. So that's a little piece of music that I have playing and looping. And yeah, I don't have to be playing that piano live, and in fact, it's not me playing at all. That's a little piece by shoot, his name escapes me, but I'm gonna put it in the credits later. Sell My Organs. Is that a sustainable plan, Albert? How many organs do I have? I mean, I know skin is an organ, and that probably replenishes blood and other fluids that are renewable. I just don't think that's a long-term strategy. I only have 2 arms, 2 legs. I want to keep all of them. The 2 lungs, the 2, kidneys. Oh, I want to, I'm kind of attached to my organs. They are in use. In fact, if you try to eject them on this system, you'll just get a message that says you can't because that organ is currently in use. And sure, you can force eject it, but that's not going to be good for me. A keyboard is not an organ. Mark, what's vodcast? Susan suggested prostitution. Virtual prostitution, though? Yeah, that could work for her, maybe, but I don't see that being a dependable source of income for me. You know, I haven't been able to give this shit away for free. So, do you think just marking it up is gonna help? I mean, I know there's some psychology to that. I haven't been able to give it away free, but maybe I could sell it overpriced. I think I was just remembering the other day, George Carlin had a very funny bit about prostitution being illegal, and he said, how can it be illegal to sell something that's perfectly legal to give away for free? George Carlin. I'm selling myself short. Oh, vodcast. This is what I'm doing. Video casting, right? Video webcasting, live streaming. You know what's amazing? You may not know this about me. Albert might be about the only person that does, but I had a live streaming video talk show in 1999 and 2000. Now, I don't know when YouTube was launched, but it was years after that. In 99 and 2000, it was right when most people still had dial-up, 56K, and some people had DSL. And there was an explosion of flash animation shows. Some networks came on that were producing little animated shows in Flash. And I got with a tech company in the Bay Area, Sacramento area actually, and they had technology to do a live streaming show that was relatively compact, and it was coming from a bedroom essentially. And it was low cost, but that was like $20,000 worth of equipment. And I could do a show by myself, kind of like this. And what's just incredible is in the intervening years, you could do so much of that just with a phone, remotely, wirelessly, out in public. You can do live streaming, and now I can do it to all these different platforms, or here where I can call in some other technology. And I look forward to showing you some of the other stuff. Albert says it was awesome. Yeah, a prop costume maker. You know what's interesting? I know a guy from those days. That company is gone. They were called Play Incorporated, and our network was Play TV. And there's a guy, and his name is Odin, O-D-I-N, and I think he's been doing videos on YouTube, and I think they're called Odin Makes. And and Chris, that's exactly what he does. He makes amazing props. Really cool stuff, weapons and stuff, all sorts of things. And his videos are about how to construct these incredible props. So I'm still Facebook friends with a couple people that we were doing this together back in the Bay Area. And actually, a couple of people weren't in the Bay Area, but were on our network. One guy was up in Canada. Revelstoke Jim. Are you out there, Jim? You can have a side gig as a tech consultant to other people's endeavors, too. Do you want to see a little peek behind the curtains? I'll show you something. It's kind of crowded here right now, but check this out. Aha. That's a little different. Let's see. I'm gonna mess up my original shot, but that's some audio dampening, and I have lights, and now I think I've cocked this up a bit. Haha, look at that. So, now that all disappears. A little peek behind the curtain. Pay no attention. And that's only a small taste because I have some other hidden stuff. The Starship Enterprise, yeah. So, yeah, of course, I can't even remember the last time I had a gig cancel. And in fact, I used to have a clause in contracts about canceling, and sometimes I would. Larry, you mentioned getting having in your contract being paid half up front. It's not a bad idea. I got lazy and I stopped doing that. And the clients I deal with are all very respectable and dependable. And I got lazy and haven't had any complications, so I haven't had clauses to take care of complications. So, we could have had a clause in there that they have to pay. But you know what else? I suspect that with some government agencies and universities, they might not be able to do something like that. But the thing is, they almost never cancel. Obviously, these are extraordinary circumstances, and I want to work with them. So we're still hoping to do this gig again, and in the meantime, we negotiated a slightly smaller arrangement. Because you know what? I was going to spend a week in the Bay Area. I got an Airbnb. I was going to see a lot of friends. So I had a plane ticket, an Airbnb, the ticket on Southwest. I don't technically lose anything, but I don't have access to that money. And the Airbnb took a pretty big hit. I think cancellation fees vary by each user. This one was steep because it was 50%. I could have canceled up till tomorrow and lose 50% plus the first day completely, plus this other administrative fee or something. So it ate up most of it, but the people I'm working with, they want to work with me and I want to work with them. So we're gonna hopefully get to do this again. Oh yeah, anyway, Larry, about being a tech consultant for some of these, there's a lot I don't know, but I learned a lot by putting this together, and I'm in the process of learning more. And I'll tell you that I also have a green screen, and I'm gonna be using it soon. And here's a weird complication that I didn't expect at all. You do all these things, and each time, you ever had that kind of thing, a big project, and you have all these little problems pop up and you knock them down? Well, I didn't expect this with my black glasses, that the first stuff I shot in here, I did an interview with the green screen with my astrophysicist friend, Katie Mack. And for that, I was turned sideways because we were looking at each other. So this issue didn't become relevant until I started to shoot stuff when I was looking directly at the camera. Right here, the sides of my glasses, although they're black, they're very shiny. And when the green screen is behind me, green was reflecting right here, but not if I was sideways. So I'd already used it successfully, but as soon as I tried to do monologue stuff to the camera, green was being picked up by the camera right here, and then whatever I was substituting for the green was appearing. It was terrible and distracting. So first attempt at a solution was this matte spray. I tried to reduce the shininess, didn't work at all. So you know what I did? I cut out 2 little strips of black construction paper. And oddly, the construction paper, although it was black, there was a certain whiteness to it too. And so I had to glue 2 pieces of paper on here, and that worked. And it wasn't really noticeable to the camera because it's like just this little part, and so anyway, I'm rambling, but that was it's like such a weird little unexpected issue. Okay, so let's see what you got here. Lori Buxbaum, are you still out there? This is my new career. Make a web series with sincere, quick changes. What do you mean by that? Sincere, quick changes? What does that mean? I'm gonna check this out. What are you checking out? Okay, Starship Enterprise, cool studio, Black Hole. Chris Fonseca told, oh, you know, Denise, Chris Fonseca just wrote to me yesterday. He wanted to know if I had an old photo of him and me and my old friend Mitch Hedberg. And I don't know. I have a lot of pictures with Mitch and a lot of pictures with Chris, but I don't remember of us doing that. So Chris Fonseca told me a story how you two were traveling in Indiana and the state had 2 separate time zones, one of which was affected by daylight savings time. It's crazy. I don't remember that. New creations will come out across the board here. Got to go to sleep. If you want to write some molecular biology jokes together, DM me. Good night, Chris. If you get sick and turn green, you'll disappear. Yes, Albert, I'll get keyed out. Can I add chyrons or video clips in the top right corner? Yes, I can do any of that. I just have to figure it out and set it up, but then I could do it and queue it up. And I don't know if you were watching, but Jamie, I have this this little device. You can set things like I can make these buttons be whatever I want them to be, so I can trigger things like that. This is how I triggered the scene change or to start recording or streaming. So yeah. Hey Susan, are 2 different people in one house watching? I'm pretty popular in one house in Houston. I'm popular right now. I made a spectacle of myself. Off-color humor, exactly. Yeah, Jamie, I can do that. I could be a weatherman. I'm not sure right now how I would bring in like a Skype call using the current piece of software I'm using. There's another piece of software for the mixing that has built into it the ability to pull up Skype calls. Right now, if I tried to do it, I'm doing all of this on my laptop, and I don't know how much it would tax the CPU, but I can see that right now I'm only using 43% of the CPU. But I think I'm also sending this out not at 1920 by 1080. I think I'm sending it out at 720p, a slightly lower resolution. But I could, with another device, I could set up a Skype call and maybe bring that in as another source. But I should be able to do live interviews and make them look better and interesting, like compose something interesting, and put someone like, left is right and right is left. I need to be here and this over here. Like, create something, a frame for it. It's just gonna take some experimenting. You're on the same sofa and you both have your mobile devices? Are the 2 signals in sync or are they a little off since you joined at a different time? I'm curious. Video quality's good? Good. I did jack up the kilobits per second, but on Facebook right now, you can't stream at 1080p anyway, but it's just they're just rolling out this change. But for all these past few years that you could stream live on Facebook, there was a limit, and the resolution was 720p. Whereas you could stream 1080p to YouTube. In fact, you might even be able to stream 4K to YouTube, but I'm not even gonna attempt that, especially not using my laptop. I don't think that's... Okay, those 2. Hey, Steve Mazan. This is my replacement for live appearances now. Hecklers can only text you their messages. It changes the dynamic quite a bit. Let's take a look real quick over at YouTube and see how we're doing. No chat over there. And let's take a quick look at Twitter. So yeah, my friend, I was gonna see some really good old friends of mine in the Bay Area, and more importantly, I was going to. Oh my God, Keith, are you watching? Keith, you know I can no longer pronounce your last name, but if you're watching, good to see you out there. A young scientist that I met at the Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting like 2 years ago. But I was so craving a mission-style burrito, specifically La Cumbre at 16th and Valencia. I could almost taste it. Just today, I set up lunch with my friend Michelle on Wednesday to go to La Cumbre. And I was so happy. And tomorrow I was gonna fly, and then Wednesday eat that first burrito. And that's not happening now because of the virus. Petty complaints. First world problems. Yeah. So, no updates on that. I guess I'll wrap this up because my voice is shot. And I think it's a successful test. And that's a wrap. That's a burrito or a wrap. But I'm just gonna have to start doing more of this. And when you guys figure out how I can monetize it all, I don't know. If, at some point maybe I have to launch a Patreon, but I hate the idea of doing that and then not getting any support. Begging for money, hey, support. I don't even like the whole idea. What I want is one patron of the arts. That's always been just that one. Albert, you could be that person. I know a couple people that could be that person, but that's always sounded like a great way to get by. Have a patron of the art that supports you while you create something of value. I'm not saying you don't provide value, but stupid virus. Nice to see you. Please add a soft light on your face. Is this too harsh? Yeah, I didn't really worry. Like, I especially could have brought it down and made it a little more atmospheric, but I just turned it on and started today, and I'll be experimenting with. I hear you, Albert. I'll be experimenting with the lighting and such. But thanks for tuning in, and again, I don't know. Yes, a sugar mama, Susan. That's what we like to call it, a patron of the arts. But you say potato, I say sugar mama. Yeah, so I'm going to be experimenting with a lot of different video content, I guess, and try to figure out a way to create something of value and something fun, too. So thank you for tuning in, and thanks for talking, because it's much easier to do with you than alone. But I'll be doing some monology stuff, some monologues as well. So I'm going to wrap this up, and let's see. I think we'll fade and then turn it off. Good night, everybody.